And to make matters worse, unlike heroes and generals, in War Thunder, these two 500-pound bombs, you drop them at the same time. Kind of wish they drop individually so I can at least make 2 classes or 2 tanks at most. Get multi kills instead of just getting 1 because I just dropped 2 on 1 tank. Which EV10 should I go for?
Double kill.
Hey guys, it's Jim here, and welcome back to another episode of Heroes and Generals but it's warthunder. And in today's episode, we are looking at the last plane that you can unlock in Heroes and Generals, the dogfighting ribbon on the American side. This is the P-51 D-5 fighter. Probably one of the most iconic fighters in the Second World War, especially when you hear the word World War II fighters. But anyway, how does this thing fare against Heroes and Generals in War Thunder? Well, unfortunately, it's kind of a left and right situation, meaning like this one has this and the other doesn't. But yes, allow me to break it down to you and I'll show you which ones are which, and then I'll let you know which one I prefer, Heroes and Generals or the one in War Thunder. And of course, firstly, looking at the statistics of this thing, you can go up to about 700 kilometers an hour. That's assuming you are diving. But the good news is that you do have a rather decent energy retention, which is excellent. Just be careful that once you lose speed while flying level, you might have some difficulty trying to build up to that speed. So that's something you need to be careful of. As well as if you manage to get up to like 500, 600 kilometers an hour and so, you don't really compress or lock up that easily, but it feels like your vertical stabilizer does. So whenever you're trying to boom and zoom or dive down on the enemy fighter, it might feel like it's a little bit stiff when you're trying to re-engage the enemy plane or trying to compensate for the fact that the enemy plane is turning left or right to dodge out of your way. So that's something you need to be careful of when you're diving down on the enemy in this thing. And speaking of turning, turning is a little bit subpar. I mean, at 400 kilometers an hour or so, you can definitely turn on time. But once you reach around 350, 300 kilometers an hour, yeah, it kind of feels a little bit chunky. And finally, rate of climb is actually not too bad. So how does this fare against the one in Heroes and Generals? Well, this is the part where I say this as this and that as that. It's the fact that the one in War Thunder has really good speed but a subpar turning time. However, the one in Heroes and Generals, I don't really know too much about the speed because the map in Heroes and Generals is a little bit small, to say the least, or at least, you know, the area where you're usually dogfighting isn't like massive in any way. So I would say that the max speed isn't really that high. But in Heroes and Generals, from what I remember, they made the P-51 the best turn fighter there is. So the one in War Thunder has speed, the one in Heroes and Generals has a turn time. And to be honest, and unfortunately with this is pretty much the one reason why I kind of prefer this, the one in Heroes and Generals over in War Thunder. Yeah, it's mainly because of the turn time. But that's mainly a self-preference because I'm the type of person who prefers like a tighter turning circle as well as somewhat decent energy retention and good climb rate and whatnot. Planes like the Typhoon or the X, the 109 Air Force, you name it. And unfortunately, the D-5 doesn't really fall into that category. And then moving on, we are looking at the firepower of this thing. This is, again, like the P-51 D-5. So of course, we have 6 American 50 caliber M2 Browning machine guns, as God intended. And as 50 cal goes, these are the late war version of the 50 calibers, so that means you have a very, very, very excellent ammo belts that's available. You know, even the default belt can really do some serious work. The universal for shooting down planes, the ground targets for shooting at ground targets, assuming they don't exactly have armor, tracer rounds if you feel like making a laser show, and stuff if you want to be a piece of shit. So for me personally, I'd say depends on the temperature rating, you can choose either ground targets or universal. For me, is if I'm bringing this thing to 4.7, I know this thing is 4.3, but as we all know, American tanks aren't exactly known for 4.3. What the hell, Gaijin? Anyway, if I'm taking this thing out to 4.7 and I get down tiered, I would definitely use ground targets build, because there will be plenty of tanks that I can actually tear it up from top down, and the solid armor piercing rounds is definitely the best choice for it. However, if I'm taking this thing out to a higher battle rating, maybe I got up tiered, or if I'm playing this thing in 5.3, 5.7 battle ratings, 6.0 maybe, just use a universal. Because thanks to that battle rating, the roof armor is basically more than 30mm thick or just nice 30mm. And unfortunately, that also means that the ground targets that you're killing with your 50 cals are usually open tops, something that you're already doing with the universal rounds. So no point running the ground target spell, just use universal. If you're taking this thing out to a higher battle rating, at least you can shoot down planes a little bit better than ground targets. And now moving on the next thing, which unfortunately I would say this is a saving grace that makes me want to play the one in War Thunder more than the one in Heroes and Generals, but still though I still prefer the one in Heroes and Generals. It's the payload. Unfortunately, the reason is because in Heroes and Generals, you're only carrying about the 250kg shells. And before you guys say anything about the bomb loads or whatever, the statistic says 250 kilograms. So that means it's talking about the 500-pound bombs, not the 250 pounds. This is like 113 kilograms, not 250 kilograms. Do not mix up pounds with kilograms. We have 1000-pound bombs in War Thunder, but unfortunately, I did say in the intro video that I will be staying true to the game to Heroes in general, so that means we'll be using the 500-pound bombs. And yeah, I really wish I can use the 1000-pound bombs, especially if I get up tiered. Kinda makes me wonder if Rito ever considered like different kinds of payloads for airplanes and not just like bombs, maybe also rockets, autocannons, additional guns. Then maybe like the different types of bomb shells as well, instead of carrying just strictly 250 kilograms, you can carry something lighter like 50 kilograms. You don't destroy tanks easily, but at least your plane can fly quite well. Or if you carry something like the 1000-pound bombs, your plane don't really fly very well, but ground targets will feel your presence. One disadvantage that this thing has that Heroes and Generals don't is the fact that these two 50kg shells drop at the same time, unlike Heroes and Generals where they drop individually. I kinda wish that these two drops individually so I can make at least 2 passes before I start engaging enemy aircraft. And there you have it, this is the P-51 D-5, and as I said it, unfortunately I really prefer the one in Heroes and Generals over this thing, but that's mainly a self-preference thing. I do prefer a better turn fighter than a energy reliant boom and zoom type aircraft. But anyway, that's all I gotta say about this aircraft. Now let's take this thing on to battle, and hopefully I can learn a trick or two so I can show them, if you know what I mean. There's more coming. Oh, how did that bounce? Right here, buddy. Oh, M22. You're the little tank that could. See something, dude? There's nothing behind it. We can do it for whoever's coming up. Yeah, No one needs better rating, dude.
Enemy forces have captured a zone.
Damn it.
Counterattack. We need to put.
Continue climbing.
Allied forces have captured a zone. Enemy forces have captured a zone. If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win.
You're not the guy I'm worried about. Where's your KV2 friend? Yeah, I can kill a Mark 7 like this.
Attention to the designated grid square.
Enemy tank has been destroyed.
Attention to the designated grid square.
Roger that. Confirming fire. If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win. Got it!
Whatever.
Go! Thank you very much.
mean, that just is... Get out of here, buddy. Oh, you need to die, buddy.
One more down. If we don't do something fast, the enemy will win.
I got it, no worries.
The enemy has captured most of
What's a nice one doing all the way out here? I thought he was behind the building. Oops. No, ain't happening, buddy. I got you, homie. Seen it? Is that you? Yep, it's him. This guy needs to go. There's an enemy fighter I saw a second ago. Was someone taking the iPhone? Yep. Call me a monster, but that's a striker. It's justified. Is there somebody in the water? Or is that the striker? Where's the Zis study? That's what I want to know. I didn't get a Zis for him. There he is. How did none of that hit?
Excellent!
Oh, buddy.
The enemy controls most of the strategic zones. Allied forces have captured a
Alright,
zone.
thank you for that.